All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 66th episode of The Get Down, our final episode of the year. My name is Cream.
Gary W. here. I meant to look back to see how many episodes we did this year. I think it was roughly like 35 or so, which I think was pretty good. I kind of wanted to review all that stuff, not all of it, but like just kind of go over some of it. But I think it was like 35 episodes, which I think is pretty damn good.
We were pretty consistent this year, despite how busy we were, you know?
It has gotten more challenging since September has come around. We're a little more spotty. I was actually surprised with how many people we've had on, because it feels like we kind of fell off with the amount of people that we've had on. But like Cheesy was on, remember? I think we had Dario and Angelo and Greg. I think we had Angelo a couple times.
Yeah, we had more of the local guys. We didn't branch out into like the national
Ron,
scene.
Obviously.
Yeah. Mark G and Wavy. We had UFO. So we had everybody on.
And that wasn't even that long ago. I think those were in like the 40s or the late 40s, early 50s. So, you know, it's been a good fall. It's been busy fall. And I'm looking forward to January and seeing if things slow down, which we're going to get into, because we might be forced to slow down depending on what goes on. But we'll get into that stuff.
Yeah, I think the mind state up here right now is let's just get through New Year's Eve, because we all know New Year's Eve is a big money day for everybody. It's a big money day for the venues and all the staff and all the DJs and the entertainment companies. And I think everyone's, you know, we're here on Monday recording, and we're 5 days away from one of the biggest, if not the biggest, money nights in our industry. And I think everyone's just hoping we get through it. And, you know, the COVID stuff we could talk about later, but, you know, let's just get through this biggest night of the year type thing.
I give props to the local government and then the state government as well, in Jersey and New York, especially, where they're kind of hands off right now and they're leaving it in the hands of the owners. This is talking about New Year's Eve. I think they want everybody to get through New Year's Eve, being that everybody knows it's a big money day, right? You really don't want to screw your local businesses over that are trying to make money. And, you know, we've been affected by this now multiple years in a row on these bigger nights. And I feel like, I don't know this for a fact, but I feel like local governments have been like, take a step back, let these people make their money, whether it be SantaCon or New Year's Eve. And then I would almost put money on it. We're going to hear something right after New Year's, you know, whether it be like a maybe suggested capacity thing, something along those lines. But we can, like I said, talk about that later. But as it pertains to New Year's, I feel like
I don't know, man.
Kind of like hands up.
Literally every person I know in nightlife is sick right now from the two SantaCon weekends. So
right.
Whether it's COVID or not, everybody is sick, including me. I was sick last week. Luckily, it was not COVID, so I was able to enjoy my Christmas with my family. But
that's what I'm saying. It'll be very easy for local government to step in and be like, all right, well, you guys got to shut down for a week. Like, you have multiple cases in your place, like you must shut down. But like they kind of are letting places self-regulate, which I think is the right thing to do. Is everybody going to do the right thing? Who knows? You know, you'll have some people kind of go astray, especially if they're like asymptomatic. But like, I just enjoy the fact that it's not like, okay, we must have a mandatory shutdown to control this or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like we were going to hear something faster and we didn't. And I thought it was because I really feel like government wants us to get through this stuff and make everybody make their money. You know, it's good for the local economy.
I agree. So yeah, so we got New Year's Eve. I'm sure everybody listening, even if you're like a part-time working DJ, you're probably working, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know we're stacked out across the board. We filled a couple of our last remaining gigs that had popped up that we had for Friday. So we filled those in with quality DJs too, which I was happy about. And
Yeah, I had to put the bat signal out today to try and fill some stuff, but like luckily it turned into using a couple of DJs who work with us regularly. So
Right. You know, it's funny because even our work chats, like you can say things over and over and over again, and still stuff gets missed because there's so much conversation being had.
yeah.
Um, so it it becomes a little difficult, and you have to just constantly reiterate, like,
Yeah.
okay, hey, we got gigs open. But
So I think the first thing we want to get into is how do we approach our New Year's Eve sets? Because there are a lot of factors and there's a lot. It's a way different than a normal Saturday night out, right?
yeah, I personally go at this night completely different than any other set in the whole year. And I think the day that I learned that, or I took this approach, was I think it was 2012 or 2013 at Chandelier Room, and like, you know, every table sold out. It was just, you know, tickets sold out, and it's wall to wall the minute you walk in. So
Right. The door's open and it's packed.
it's packed. Like you have about 5 minutes and it's jam packed. Um, I just go, I stay peak almost the whole night. And I don't come off at peak because you're normally going to start at 9, and then ball drops obviously at 12. And then, yeah, you have like that, like 20 to 30 minutes of big tracks that you'll play after midnight. But like, I'll reach back to peak like 5 years ago,
Yeah.
you know, and kind of sit in there and like just build throughout the night, and just like really just big party records for that first 3 hours. Because everybody's excited and still sober at the 9 o'clock hour. And you can kind of like build the excitement like all night, and everybody's going to party. And then after the ball drops, in many venues, not all venues, not like, because nightclubs they'll go late, but like in these venues where you have open bars early, that shit peters out between 12:30 and 1:30. I'd even say between 12:30 and 1. I've seen people just be too drunk and like have to, because you got to remember it's also amateur hour. Like you're having a lot of people going out that don't normally go out regularly, and you know, you're always dealing with people that are either throwing up or getting sick or just acting a fool because they're too drunk by 12 o'clock. And people can't handle themselves at open bars.
Yeah.
You know, you've been to weddings, you know how that goes.
Yeah. In combination with amateur hour and open bar, it's like a recipe for people just getting too drunk too early and waiting for the ball drop, and then like they're out. And I've seen it many times. And when I first started DJing, I thought it was like, oh, well, I must have done something wrong. Like, why am I? It wasn't that I did something wrong. It was just kind of how the night goes. And I think it's going to vary based on your venue and the type of venue and what's happening. But I think you need to be prepared for your venue to start clearing out, like, you know, an hour to 2 hours within the ball drop.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've seen it anywhere between 12:30 and 1 o'clock where it gets noticeably lighter.
Yeah.
And that's why you just don't save records for after 12. I think that's a huge thing for me, at least. You can do it if you want to, you know, like this year, are you going to play the Acraze record probably at midnight? You know, maybe, because that's one of the biggest records of the year. So maybe that's one that you save, but that's one that you can also play at 10 and then play again at 12, like, you know, different remixes of, or whatever you might want to do. But I'm a big proponent of just going hard right from the get-go, and just staying energetic the whole time, like really like 8 to 10 energy.
Yeah.
I know it seems hard to sustain, but like we all have big enough record pools that we can, you know, pull from. So
it's definitely a challenge because, you know, like, for example, I'm playing New Year's Eve with Carlos Melange. So I have the earlier set in the night, which is whenever 8 or 9 o'clock until probably 11:30, let's say. And then he's going to jump on prior to the ball drop. And when you're playing with someone else, I agree with you. You need to play a lot of energy and stuff that people know and are going to get excited about. They're going to get drunk very quickly. They're going to be ready to rock very quickly. It's packed out instantly. So there's no like building the room. The room is packed. It's just a matter of when people start getting drunk and start dancing. And that's like, it's just a tough thing to juggle, because I want to leave room for Carlos to be able to go on and do his thing and also keep people, you know? And I think sometimes if you do go too hard too early and you hit all those bangers, it leaves no room for people to want to stay, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I just go back and forth with that on New Year's Eve. Like you're not keeping the crowd in my opinion.
Yeah.
In most venues, you're not keeping like people are either the people that leave or the people that got too drunk and had to go home.
Yeah. Or a lot of times, like they'll do the open bar probably ends at midnight too. So people will leave the open bar, go to house parties, go to other bars where their friends are at, go see their family. Like there's a lot of things that you can then go do.
Are you guys at Birch hard? Are you hard ticket?
Hard ticket and then bottle sales. So even people that are buying, like they've created bottle packages so that it's a per person price and you get bottles included.
Okay.
And you get a table and an area to hang out at.
Yeah, we have cover charge, I believe, at Ashford and 626. And then we also have
bottle service.
Well, no, they're doing the open bar on both floors too.
Oh, so they're not doing any bottle service.
I don't know if they're doing bottle service, but I know it's like 4-hour open bar at both, starting at 9, I believe, 8 or 9. I think it's 9. So 9 to 1. So, I mean, that's a predominant amount of the evening. So those people will stay around till 1. And I guess that's probably when I can kind of assume that people are going to kind of lighten up a little bit anywhere between 1 and 1:30. I think that's important to know too, going into your set. Know what the structure is of the bar that you're playing at, right? So know, like, is it a hard ticket sale? Is it bottle service predominant? Is it open bar? What time is the open bar? When does it start? When does it end? Know all of that information in advance. Even if you find out like just before you go on, that's fine too. It's just so a good way to mentally prep for your set and kind of know where you need to place certain music and certain energy. Just having as much information as possible about how the night's going to go down is key to just being successful throughout the night. I mean, and then also to go along with that, you know, New Year's Eve brings a lot of those curveballs that you might not normally deal with. I know in Ashford a couple of years ago, I had a live violinist and I also had like a saxophonist going simultaneously. So I'm not juggling getting like microphones for these people and hooking them up correctly because they obviously didn't show up until it was time to play, you know? So, you know, you have to either have like a mix ready so you could deal with all this stuff, and a mix that's like relevant, that has some energy that you can use.
You need like a peak hour mix because it's going to be that time.
Yeah. Like, cause if they come on and they want to do this all at 11 o'clock, right, and then kind of lead it right into midnight, you want to be able to keep the energy in the room and then also be able to hook everything up that needs to be hooked up and coordinate the things that need to be coordinated. I think that's so important.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's definitely all that extra stuff that's going to happen. Like, are you playing the ball drop sound? I don't know if you said that. And if so, how are you doing that? Right. I would say get there super early as possible. You want to be in there early. You want to do a sound check. You want to be ready to rock. Make sure all the speakers are on. Make sure everything is working. You want to have a backup. If something turns off, your computer restarts, overheats, whatever it is, USB, or you need something just in case, 1,000%, because this is the worst possible day for you to not have a backup if something does happen. And yeah, just, you know, this night is not about you and about like creating a flow to a night and technical transitions. This night is about juggling all these different things. Like you said, making sure the crowd has a good time, playing good music. And there's going to be other things that happen that you just have no control over. So you just got to be willing to like roll with the punches and not get worked up about it. And you'll be fine.
For me, this is like, it's one of my least favorite sets of the year. We've talked about that before. There is this excitement going into it because I know that I'm going to come with a lot of energy from Jump Street because I know it's going to be wall to wall, right? Pretty much wherever you play. So there is an excitement about that, knowing that you're walking into a packed house. And I think as a younger DJ, if you're not always playing in front of a packed house, that's what makes it more exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes playing New Year's Eve more appealing across, like, because no matter where you're at, it's going to be probably wall to wall. It's going to be a sold out play. It's going to be a sold out event. So knowing that you get to come in and play with all this energy and play all like the big tracks and even play tracks that maybe people don't know that have a lot of energy, people are still going to react to it, especially in that like 10 to 11 o'clock hour, because there is an excitement behind the night before the ball drops, right? I feel like after the ball drops, there's like a bit of a deflation in energy.
Yeah, because everyone's looking forward, and then it happens, and it's like, all right, now what?
Right. Exactly. And then, like we said, either the open bar ends or people start to move, and energy definitely shifts afterward.
Now that I think about it, these venues should really make sure that their open bar goes till at least 1 to keep people. Like
Absolutely.
Maybe you don't start at 8, you start at 9, and you let the open bar go through midnight.
Right.
And
I agree.
Go to 1 to try to keep your crowd, because if the open bar ends at 1, it's like, all right, well, there's only 1 more hour left. Like maybe we'll just hang out and stay anyway. But if it ends at 12, it's like, it gives people an opportunity to now go somewhere else.
Yeah. That ends. I feel like at midnight, you get a reprieve of like 15 minutes where people aren't going to the bar. Everybody's going at like 11:40, 11:45, getting that drink. Ball drops. Everybody does their Happy New Year's and whatever it might be. Dance to whatever the first 2 tracks are that you play. And then I think 12:15, realistically, you're going back to the bar. It gives the bar a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
I feel like that, when you just have like an 8 to 12, the bar never gets a break. It's like constant, like get as many drinks as you can before midnight,
Yeah.
So
I think for DJs this year too, because New Year's Eve falls on a Friday, it's like, we can go have fun. And like, I know in Hoboken, there's like after hours that usually goes till like the next day. Like, I think for me, like we're going down to Atlantic City. We're playing Harrah's on Saturday. So it's like, we can't really go too crazy. It might be the earliest, lightest night of my DJ career, because I'm playing the early set. Once the ball drops, I'll hang out with Carlos for a little bit. I'm thinking about jetting out of there and going to like hang out with my family and my friends from home and going to spend New Year's with them, because I don't know, once I'm done, like what's the point of me hanging around for that long, Yeah. Like I have friends, and I have friends that work at Birch, obviously. And I am technically I'm on the payroll at Birch. So like,
right.
Yeah, it's cool to hang out there, but I'm there all the time. Like,
that's the weird thing about being at your residency, is that like you're there all the time anyway. And, so it sometimes becomes just another night.
Yeah.
That, that is guaranteed sold out, but I can see where the shine starts to wear off when you've been at a place for such a long time and so much that it's like, okay, well, I can go do something else that will float my boat a little more.
In the past, also, I used to double up a lot on New Year's Eve, where I would play 2 venues. And so like, I literally was just jumping in the car and going to the next spot, and that would be my full night, and then meeting up with everybody afterwards in Hoboken. But
yeah, those are always interesting nights, like going to open one place and close another place. I remember I did that at the Red Room. I opened for Big Ben when Ron had promoted there. That was a lot of fun, because there's like 7 different rooms, and each room was a different tier of ticket pricing. And it was pretty cool how they had it set up. There was like a $10,000 a ticket room, which was cool. I mean, like you had all levels of.
Was that like the main room, like the club room?
It was not. There was like this private room with like super high end food.
Nice.
And like high end booze, and they probably, I don't know, I forget, but it was like some astronomical. If it wasn't 10, it was like 5. It was just something ridiculous where you're like, I don't
Yeah.
even understand who has this kind of money to drop per person. And then like drove out to Morristown, which was like insane. But anybody who's looking to do something like this, DJs, like to drive in and out of New York City on New Year's Eve is the easiest thing. There is nobody. There are no cars. You can just scoot in and out as long as you're staying away from Times Square. You're fine.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I was going from 26th Street, I think it was where Gansevoort was at the time, and then shooting out the Lincoln Tunnel and then out to Morristown. It was like 35 minutes venue to venue. It's incredible. Like,
it's
you
going to
don't
be
get
even
that.
easier this year because I'm pretty sure Times Square has like a cap on the number of people, which may get decreased even more with recent incidents and
Yeah.
COVID and whatever else. But
Right.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, that's always interesting to double dip. It's fun. You get to see kind of, but that
It's,
closing
I think
set,
it's less fun. It's just, you're going to make money. Like you're going to just knock out 2 gigs. You're going to make double your money at both places and play a couple sets. You get to see 2 environments. You say what's up to everybody, and that's it. You go home, and like it's a big money grab.
the couple times that I did it, and let's see if you agree. The couple times that I did it, that first set was always more exciting. That second set was always post midnight, and it looked like a shit show after, like at that 1 a.m. hour or 1:30, whenever you might have hopped on your second set.
Yeah.
It was just a hot mess wherever my second set was, no matter where it was. Did you find that same like energy in both, like where it was better in that first?
I'm
and then,
trying
like,
to
the second
think
one was a
back
little
of like
shittier?
the time breakdowns. I've done some stuff like super early at one venue and then get to my main venue like by 11:30 so I can jump on before the ball drops.
Okay.
And then I've also done like the early set and then shoot to Hoboken or to the city to do the post ball drop set. So like 12:30 or 1 o'clock, I would jump on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It always just seemed like another headliner set, as if I was just popping in to go rock the crowd. Whereas the early set was kind of the early set, and I wasn't going as hard.
Yeah. Okay. I've also done, so probably more often than not, have done a full night by myself. And
Yeah.
I love that though. Like I love just playing myself and being able to kind of manipulate the room however I want to and not have to worry about anybody else. Playing with Dario this year,
Yeah.
that's going to be a
fun.
ton of fun. And he's just easy to play with because he doesn't care.
I think when there's so many other things happening in the night, it's easy when there's just you, because there are a lot of other things happening, switching DJs and making sure you're not playing the same shit. It's like, it's one less thing to worry about,
It's true. Yeah. I'm with Dario upstairs and I'll be with Greg. I'll probably throw a set downstairs with Greg. So that's going to be a little more interesting because I don't know. I don't know what he's playing.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we're going to work that out, but I don't know. We'll figure it out.
You guys are pros.
Professionals will do it. So yeah, so that's that for New Year's. I mean, I don't know. Going to be fun. It's this year was weird because the Friday Saturday dynamic for Christmas Eve, Christmas, and then New Year's Eve, New Year's Day really throws things off.
It's unique this year.
This is something that we haven't talked about. I feel like we lost a bunch of sets obviously for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then next week, yeah, you have New Year's Eve and you can double charge what your normal rate would be. But then, like, if you have a Saturday afternoon gig, that may or may not be happening. And that's not because of COVID, because it's New Year's Day and people are recovering. We usually do drag brunch at 6, and then also a bunch of other day shifts like Ashford upstairs, Fat Taco, amongst others. And like, they might be happening, they might not be happening. And sure, so you got your double rate for New Year's, but it's also then cutting into your Saturday afternoon rate. Right. And now it really all just becomes the same shit.
Yeah, like Wednesday or Tuesday, New Year's Eve is where we can really make our money. But
right.
That's not happening right now. So
that's where like that Monday and Tuesday Halloween is always great because everybody goes out on Halloween, no matter what day it is. and then you also get, I love a Wednesday Halloween because you get people the weekend
Both
before and the
weekends.
weekend after. So
Yeah.
that's great. So when the holidays fall on the weekends, it messes with our money, I think, big time. And then the other thing I was thinking about, like, we're going to go down and play Atlantic City, and like none of us are going to play our Sunday gigs, because we're staying down there and we're going to be there. So like, I don't know. I felt like there was just like a snowball of those extra gigs getting eaten up by all these outside factors.
Yeah, I got offered to work on Sunday as well, and I was like, I'm never going to make it back. Number one, I mean, it could have been a night gig even, but I could have made it back. But I already had in my mind that I'm kind of taking a day or two in Atlantic City to just. This end of year, man, I'm just trying to like chill a little bit. We've been going so hard, and I think it's important that everybody takes a minute to breathe. Like take some days off, like. Don't maybe take a break from social media or just give yourself a little bit of a rest because we've been going so hard and like we all need it. And it's holiday time and it's a great opportunity to just, like spend a day on the couch if you need it or, go hang out with your friends and don't worry about music and work and whatever else. And like, I've kind of been doing that lately and I'm going to do that again, kind of doing that today. And this week's going to be another light week, I think. And we deserve it,
This is the light week. This is the like, I have it built in my head not from teaching, because when I was teaching a Jewish school, we weren't off this week, but like from like back in the day, like being in school, like having this week off was always the nice, it's like a nice chill week and you kind of can, prep for the new year and kind of mentally adjust into what everybody, no matter who you are, if you think that like New Year's resolutions are cliche or bullshit or whatever it might be in your mind, it's still nice to kind of mentally adjust and kind of get ready for what your next year. We've been talking about it for a month. You've been planning ahead and kind of manifesting and writing down what you want to accomplish in the next year. But it's good just to kind of sit back and relax and be like, okay, like formulate a plan in your head, how things are going to work. And this way you kind of go in refreshed and ready to rock. We normally, you and I normally do it after football's over. We usually would go on vacation, right? And like reset then, like
because we were going so hard with Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And this year my Sundays have been a lot lighter, but that's intentional. So
yeah. And I get to come back here for 2 weeks at a time. So this is like, it's like being on vacation, but like working every day, doing the back end stuff. But especially this time of year, being able to do it outside, like I'm recording outside right now and it's 75 degrees. It's great. I'm actually happy I'm coming up there this week because it's going to be in the mid 50s all week by you guys. So I'm excited about that. I don't have to deal with ridiculous cold.
It won't be a shock to the body. It's not been too bad up here so far, but
I woke up this morning and checked and I was like, oh, snow. It said there was like a light snow at like 9 a.m. by you guys. So then I checked out the week, but no, it's going to be great. I mean, I think it's gonna be like in the mid 50s on New Year's Eve day during the day. That's
definitely going to help.
It always helps. That helps the attitude of people coming into the venue. I think that's always nice when you remember like a couple of years ago, we had that really nice Christmas Eve. I remember I took the truck out and it was like it was like 60 or something like that. And gorgeous. It just helps with the attitude going into the night.
I want snow every Christmas. I want to wake up and I want a white Christmas. That's how that.
You guys got Christmas Eve early in the morning, right?
Yeah. It was like
a little
raining
bit.
A little. Yeah. I woke up to snow on the ground. It was short lived, but I was also, my Christmas Eve consisted of me trying to get PCR tested so I can go to my Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for 3 hours.
I feel like that was a lot of people's Christmas Eve. Yeah. And unfortunately, I spoke to a bunch of people that had to isolate for Christmas Eve and Christmas, which really, really, really sucks. I mean, you and I had talked about it thinking that you and I were going to be doing a virtual wine tasting. And
I really thought I was toast because after SantaCon and after everything, and like I was not in good shape last week, and I just assumed that that's what it was, and I was really worried because I really wanted to spend time with my family, and I would have been really upset and really kind of depressed if I wasn't able to. So anybody who had a quarantine, I feel bad for you guys. I'm sorry, but try to make it up. Try to do something else, in January to, I know you can't replace Christmas, but at least like make up for it and spend some time with your fam.
Right. Go out to dinner with your family, do something like that. I was lucky enough to end isolation on Friday. So we had me and my sister and Nolan had big plans. So, which was fun. And I was happy to do that. But then, like I said, in talking to people that had to isolate, especially that had kids and maybe didn't get to see their kids and things like that, like I really felt bad for them. So,
Yeah.
So
let's get into like we're talking a little COVID stuff here, but let's get into like our predictions for 2022. I guess starting with COVID, because that's the big question right now, right? Is it going to affect us? Are things going to shut down? We going to have to do masks again? And we don't have to get like dig deep into this, and we don't have to get political on it and like whatever. But what do you think is going to happen? Because I have my stance.
I personally think that the decision making is left to the venues themselves. If you can staff safely, then I think you're going to be able to be open. I don't think they're going to put a restriction on the amount of people that can be there. Maybe New Jersey does the Vax card thing, because if we don't do that yet, New York does it. But I don't see a government overreach when it comes to mandates. So I think it'll be a self-mandated, self-decision on whether you want to open, whether you want to do capacity, whether you want to, like, however you want to formulate it. We've seen now a lot of places shut down. Well, I think a lot of places shut down last week due to the fact that they didn't want their staff to get sick for Christmas.
Right.
And or bring sickness home to their families, which was very respectable across the board. A lot of our New York City venues that we deal with did that. And a few Jersey venues did that as well. Very respectable. You were going to be slower Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday anyway, going into Christmas, with people getting done last minute shopping and things like this, and people just kind of staying out of bars because COVID had run rampant. So I think it'll be a self-regulation kind of a thing. It's not going to be the government coming in and saying that you need to do X, Y, or Z.
I'm a little concerned with maybe just not having as busy nights a little bit. I think our industry is one of which it's a lot of younger people. It's a lot of people that really don't care and just want to go out and have fun and live their lives. And that's cool. Right. But I do think there is a set of the population that is concerned and pretty worried. And I've heard some tables canceling for New Year's Eve and for some other stuff. And I think some of that is going to happen here in the short term, which may affect, some of these off nights that we have, like the day shift on Saturday and happy hour and Thursday and Sunday. And like, those are the shifts that I think might get affected and cut into our number of DJ sets for everybody. But I think Fridays and Saturdays are going to kind of just be Fridays and Saturdays. And if you want to wear a mask and be, protect yourself in that way, so be it. But, our industry, like, people really just don't give a shit. So it's like, it's just a breeding ground, and it is what it is, like it's not the safest place to work. And it is what it is right now, but it's the path that we chose, and we're kind of just in it,
Yeah. Anywhere that you're going to have where drinking's involved, any kind of rational decision making goes out the window.
Yeah.
Second or third drink, and then it's like, well, I don't really care.
Yeah.
You think you're invincible at some point. So yes, but also to add to what you just said, and we've been banging people over the head with this for about 2 months. January and February are slower. They're good. It's not just going to be because of this. It's going to be affected even more because of this, but it's not. January is not going to be slow because COVID's really bad. It's going to be.
That's going to add to it.
It's going to be slower.
Right.
It's going to be slower, but it yearly, this is the month where if you're a full-time bartender, you travel. A lot of my my full-time bartending friends they take a week in January, February, especially if you're from the Northeast. It's the best time to travel.
Yeah.
But because it's slower, because your money's not as crazy, and the bars can staff a little differently because of the amount of people that are coming in, you'll see that happen. So I think it's important not to get discouraged that things are slowing down, especially Friday nights. I wouldn't be shocked to see Fridays be exponentially slower than they are right now.
Yeah.
Saturdays are Saturday. People are going to go out. That is what it is. You'll always have a good Saturday, but your Fridays will be affected greatly. I feel, at least for the next 5 to 6 weeks post New Year's.
Yeah.
Just my prediction.
I think the other thing too, and I'm not super concerned about us not having work or getting shut down or any of that stuff, but at the same time, have a plan just in case. Think about it. Just have a something in the back of your head, like, hey, if something does happen, what am I going to do? I think that's just covering all bases. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it's not a terrible thing to just think about in the rare case that it does happen,
Yeah. I think the reality of the situation is that we're not hearing too much about hospitals being overrun and, death rates being crazy. Yes, a lot more people are getting sick, but I think with, vaccinations and even people that aren't vaccinated or seem to be getting sick, but they're bouncing back. I'm not hearing about a lot of the people that I know that have gotten it have had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Thank God, knock on wood. So that's good. I think as long as that's the path that we continue to go down, where people are just kind of bedridden for a day or 2 or 3, whatever it might be, I think we'll stay in good shape as far as staying open and being able to be in business and going to work. Like you said, though, there are some of those extra sets, those guys that play Saturday afternoons and rely on that Saturday afternoon money and that Sunday afternoon money. You're going to have to start to adjust now, because that stuff's going to start to get pulled back if it hasn't already. Especially the Sunday football stuff, because as we've said since week 10, things have slowed down considerably. Our local teams in the Jersey area has sucked. So the crowds have gone down there. So don't be shocked to see your ownership and management start to cut back on those sets. That's money that we do rely on weekly. It's, it's anywhere between $300 and $500 for a Sunday. That's a lot of money over a month's period. You're anywhere between, what is it, like $1,200 and $2,000 for the month. It's a lot of money. It's people's rent. So just start to adjust now, because we all have to make that adjustment, because football ends, and then Sunday parties they'll pop up in the first month, but they don't really go all that long. Let me turn my light on real quick, because I'm getting a little fuzzy here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, do you want to speak on those extra events?
I'll continue. I think the other thing that we spoke about it with our Get Down guys this past week, but there was a lot of work that was available to everybody here in the last 6 months. And I just think it's an opportunity to take a look back and think, like, we're lucky to be able to have all these gigs and make our money, and the gigs may not always be there. So when you wake up and you're complaining to go make $300, $400, $500 for a 4 or 5 or 6 hour set, like, that's a lot more money than most other people make. So, having this COVID and potential gigs going away, like, just reflect on what we actually do have. And I think just take a minute to be like, I do have it pretty good. Like, I get paid to go play music for people and, like, drink beers and, like, have a good time in most cases. So just think about that, and think about in January, we had no gigs and nobody was working. And now it's like, we're at a point where we're able to say no to stuff because we have so much stuff happening, and it's just not always going to be like that. So reflect a little bit.
It's mind-boggling to me that anybody turns down any DJ gig. That I don't care if it's 8 hours long, and if it pays you $300, that it's still good money, no matter what, no matter how you cut it up. In my eyes, like, when you're looking at it from and I'm talking about more like Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. I'm not talking about night stuff.
Yeah.
I'm talking about those extra gigs. That stuff's great. Like that's just extra. Like you're gonna spend a Saturday afternoon drinking beers and hanging out and playing music and getting paid over $50 or $50 an hour for it. That's an incredible way to spend your time, to me, at least. You know, I understand that people want to protect their brands and you're trying to build something else. And you're afraid that if you take this gig, then maybe it looks bad and somebody's not going to book you down the road for a room that you really want to play. But like, you just have to be strategic about that stuff. I would have thought, and I think you would agree with this, I would have thought that coming out of what we just came out of for 16 months or whatever it might have been, so we really got the ball rolling heavy, or 18 months, that people would have realized, and it would have stuck around a little longer in their head, that to be more appreciative of every single gig you get. You know, and I think in talking to a lot of DJs, I think a lot of us have lost that, just kind of that feeling of not having anything.
Yeah.
You know, and it became like, it's like, how could you forget? This was like 6 months ago or 8 months ago that you didn't have a gig. And now it's like, well, I'm not playing there. It's like, that's insane to me. Insane. So I think when you are reflecting on 2021 and looking into 2022, I think it's just, you're right. Just be appreciative of just having work. And just remember and try to keep it in the back of your mind that, like, we, at one point here, we didn't work at all.
Yeah.
And we were all itching to work, and we were all on Twitch doing our thing, and everybody wanted to just be back anywhere. So let's not be so short-sighted.
Yeah.
Just appreciate it.
So let's talk other predictions. Like, what do you think is going to happen with this, like, music and like the sound, and whether it's EDM or whether it's hip hop or something else? Like, I don't know. We've kind of seen like the Latin boom happen here, going real mainstream for, for the hip hop and the EDM clubs. It's the Latin thing is now popular here as well. Right. I think as far as like house music, the tech and bass house stuff has been going off here for a while. And the big room sound has kind of gone a little out of the mainstream.
Yeah.
The hip hop stuff, I don't know. It's all the females, I think, are killing it.
Yep.
We're still waiting for this like slow hip hop to end. The Drake's still killing it.
Always.
There are some other artists, some younger artists that I think are pretty popular and doing their thing in the hip hop world. But I would love to see the BPM speed up a bit for hip hop. I mean, I'm hoping that happens in 2022. Maybe we start getting back into the 90 BPMs instead of the 60 BPMs or even 80 BPMs. I mean, so again, some of the girls have been putting out 80 BPM stuff that's been hitting hard, but
the girls kill in between 80 and 100, 80 and 105, honestly.
Yeah.
So I really settled into a lot of different BBC shows over the last 3 days. So I've been listening to what used to be Annie Mac's show, which is now Danny Howard, a lot of the Pete Tong stuff. I always feel like they're ahead of the curve a little bit. The stuff that happens over in the UK gets over here eventually. That's when I said years ago that disco house was going to be big. That's where I got that from. And then it eventually got here. It took like 2 years, but it took about 2 years for bigger producers that are big in America to hit. I think you're going to think I'm nuts on this. The drum and bass sound. So the drum and bass sound is like sits in like it could be like 140 to 165. And it's quick and it's ridiculous. But there's some melodic drum and bass that has been becoming more mainstream over there, where they're putting like hip hop vocals on, which is super dope. And I thought I would never touch like a 160 drum and bass track.
Yeah. And I don't know if I would.
You might not, but I think that the younger generation, I mean, I always just look to like, okay, look at Angelo's, what's that? He has that 160 record. Stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so look to that and it kind of aligns with that stuff. And then obviously we saw Sasson play like a bunch of Venga Boys stuff from back in the day. And then like I wound up making a playlist, putting like some old Lasco stuff and like Castles in the Sky and like Mel B and stuff like that. I just think that BPM becomes a little more mainstream. I think if it mellows out and it's not so Timmy Trumpet like hardcore,
Yeah.
because the Timmy Trumpet hardcore stuff, that's just not me. And I don't see that ever becoming like a mainstream thing. Sure, like there is a crowd that loves that stuff.
Right. But is it ever going to be main? Probably
no,
not.
but I can see that. I can see, because my ears already caught back up to that 138 BPM because of Jersey Club, obviously, as well.
Right.
But it's already adjusted to that 138, 140, 145, where it was 20 years ago, because that was everything. I listened to that stuff about a year ago because I wanted to start to work some of like that Castle in the Sky stuff back in, that 70 BPM stuff, or 140, whichever way you're looking at it. And I was like, oh, this just sounds weird. Like, this doesn't make sense. And then when like Angelo put that out and he started playing faster stuff, because he was always, he was doing that about a year ago now. I feel like my ear started to get trained to that. And that's kind of what happens with everybody. You start to get used to hearing this like much quicker sound.
Yeah.
And I could see that becoming, probably in the latter part of the year, becoming something that maybe hits America a little harder. Because it's not, I mean, Jersey goes off by us. I don't know if it's just because of our location. Like, I don't know if that goes off down here in Florida or across the country, but just having that speed, I think, will make it a little more easy to introduce other genres of that speed.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily have any specific predictions as far as like where the music is going to go. I think, I mean, I hope that the house stuff kind of stays in this 126 tech bass electro mashup world that it's in.
Yeah.
I think it's been here for a little while, so I wouldn't be surprised if like a new sound emerges as like the popular sound, kind of like a subgenre, like how the slap house stuff was popular for a while.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a new sound, but I think something that all of us need to start thinking about is like how music is not only sold, but how music is put out, and the traditional methods of record labels. I think all this stuff is going to change greatly in the next 1 to 3 years. I'm not going to go deep into like a blockchain crypto NFT rant. Those of you who are into that world know what I'm talking about. And some of the utility that some of these coins provide and what they're going to do to change the music industry. Remember how like the iPod changed the music industry and MP3s? Yeah. We're on the brink of that happening again. So be prepared for a massive, massive change of how artists deliver their music, and not only their music, but also concerts.
It's already happening.
Posters, NFT, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be how musicians get their, and artists get their music and their merch and their content to you. It's going to be NFT driven. Yes, 1000%.
Yep.
So if you don't know what that is and you know nothing about it, I would educate yourself, because you're doing a disservice to yourself if you aren't educated on it. It's going to be where everything goes.
Who dropped their, not to put you on the spot, because if you don't know, you don't know, but I just read an article on it and I want to say ASAP Rocky or somebody along those lines put out like their album that way, maybe years ago, even at this point.
No, the first artist I know that put out their album as an NFT in like the EDM world, I believe, was Blau. And he sold he sold like X amount of copies of the album, and it went for like something crazy, 60 million, something stupid. Yeah, there was a New York Times, I believe, article, or a Wall Street Journal article. You can search for it, but that was probably like early or early spring of this year.
Yeah, you know what? There's a I'm not going to look it up right now, but there's a mainstream hip hop artist that everybody who's listening to this knows sold an album this way, like through NFT, as an NFT, and made a ton of money on it. And I wish I could remember who it was, but um, yeah, like you said, definitely educate yourself on it. Things are changing rapidly in the art world because of it, and it's really interesting. I just started to kind of raise the surface about a week and a half ago. So it's really an interesting just topic to get into and educate yourself on, and potentially invest in down the road
Yeah.
in some capacity.
I just think as music producers and DJs and artists, we need to start thinking about ways outside of the box to deliver our content. And there's going to be a lot of really unique things that you can do with selling tickets and concert shows. Like there's just going to be there's so much cool stuff that's happening right now and is going to continue to happen. So I would say, I just want to urge you guys to educate yourselves and get up to date on this stuff. And, maybe try to put something out, an edit pack, or, we've talked about it and we're working on something probably here in 2022 early. But yeah, I think that's going to be that's my prediction for 2022 for our world.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think you're ahead of the curve probably a little bit. That might be 2023. But I think it is a good thing to start to wrap your head around, so you're not blindsided and you have to kind of expedite your education process.
Yeah, we're still in the early stages, definitely. But
yeah, but I think now's a good time just to because a lot of people just don't even understand what an NFT is or how it works or anything like that, which, like I said, about a week ago, I was really in the dark about it. So, and still kind of like a little gray about exactly how everything works. So it'll take a while, but I think that's a good thing to get ahead of for you guys as far as learning something new for the new year. And let's talk about something that is affecting us greatly and directly, especially as the new year approaches, just equipment as in general, and just what a loss,
nightmare,
what an absolute loss we're having as far as trying to get things fixed, trying to get new equipment for venues, which is something that we're dealing with I can't speak, for multiple venues. And I think that you have to have a little foresight right now, because, you just never know when your stuff's going to go and you're going to need to replace things, or your venue stuff, your residency stuff's going to go, and you're going to so you got to start to think ahead a little bit, because with the supply chain issues that we're all dealing with across the board, as far as everything in life, DJ equipment is really being hit hard, and we're having a really hard time even just finding used equipment of certain sorts for places. It's just another thing for people to put on your radar, and maybe just get ahead of a little bit and have a backup plan, because you don't want to be put in a situation that we're put in currently.
Yeah. It's a challenge. It sucks, man, because we're in dire need of equipment in a number of venues. And, number one, what it's like trying to ask an owner to put out $2,000, $3,000, whatever, X amount of dollars. And you have to act quickly. You have to act immediately when things become available. We luckily have a couple connections in the equipment world. So someone will hit me up and say, "Hey, Kareem, we have 10 of these available right now." And if we don't jump on that second, we probably don't have new DJ equipment. And,
right.
That's the biggest challenge for you and I right now, is getting our venues to what we're putting out there and asking them to buy for us. And then obviously just trying to find it in the first place. So it sucks. It sucks.
It's just one more thing to put on your radar for 2022, because you don't want to be caught flat-footed and without something.
Yeah, if one of the venues that you're working in is something's about to go, or there's something wonky on the equipment, try to get your owner or manager to put in an order for something. And at least, even if it's on back order, your order is placed and you'll get it at some point, hopefully in the first quarter.
Right.
Maybe not, but I'm hoping. I don't know.
Yeah. It's the Wild West out there in equipment right now. So
Yeah.
prepare yourself. But yeah, I think that rounds out the year for us.
Yeah. I mean, this episode was a little different because we kind of did like almost a year end and all the things that we would talk about in a year end show, like throughout this month.
Yeah.
So I think it was good. We kind of talked about New Year's Eve and some of the things that we think about when we go to our sets. But we have a couple things to promo. Today I had a mix come out for Club Killers Radio. It was episode 399. It is available on the Club Killers Mixcloud account. That's where it's at. You can grab the link either in my Instagram at DJ Cream NYC or the Get Down Instagram. I listened to it at the gym today. It's a good mix. I accomplished what I was trying to accomplish, which was convey my sound of this bass tech electro sound, but with a lot of hip hop vocals, snuck in some Jersey club. You know, I had to do like the tech house and deeper house thing at the end. So I'm very happy with how the mix came out. I live mixed it on my birthday, which was cool.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
So that came out today. Thursday, the next Get Down and Friends edit pack is coming out. We have like 30 or 40 edits from all kinds of crazy artists, like any mashup artist that you like and you follow and you download their stuff is on the Get Down pack, including all of our guys. So
I am always so in the dark about who's on this shit when it comes out. I know nothing because
me and Angela work on it behind the scenes
because it's you and Angela's like baby. And then like, for example, the last one, I didn't get around to it for weeks on end. Like I was having issues with it for whatever reason, but I'm looking forward to this. This should
I'll have to send you the early copy, Garrett.
You know, it's good to know people.
Yeah. So we have that stuff coming out. This podcast is going to come out. You'll probably hear this Wednesday of this week.
Yep.
But New Year's Eve, you're going to be at Ashford. Where are you the rest of the weekend?
I am at Thursday night, Latin night, 626. Come check me out. That's always fun. I like to play my like salsa, my merengue shit, and then like get into like the pop, and then obviously my Salto Sounds bag is really what I like to live in early. So that's always a lot of fun, like the almost like the Coyo Taco sounds, you know. So that's always good. Friday, obviously with Dario Valley at the Ashford, but then also popping in and doing a little set at 626 for New Year's Eve as well with UFOso. So if you guys are in either of those floors, hit me up, DM me, I'll be there. And then Saturday with UFOso and Cream. Man, I'm DJing with everybody this
all
weekend.
The boys this weekend.
This is fantastic with Cream and UFOso at Harris Pool. Big shout to Mark G on that plug. That's going to be a great time. I'm sure there's going to be a nice dinner prior to that. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Sunday, just chilling out in AC, watching some football.
Yeah, I'm excited for this weekend. Like I said, I kind of planned the last 2 weeks to be, you know, pretty light. I didn't work at all last week. Haven't worked my Thursday party in a little while. So I'm not working it again this week, but I'll be back next week. So I just got Birch and then Harris Pool Saturday. Like I said, I'm going to probably take a couple days and chill in Atlantic City and relax, do the pool, some restaurants, kind of keep recharging the batteries here. So,
yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us this year. It's been great to see the growth of the show. It's great to go out and talk to some of you guys and you're consistently listening and bringing up topics and giving us topics to talk about.
Yeah.
We love that. So thank you so much for supporting the show.
It's been eye-opening and just gratifying, I guess, you know, just to like be out on a Sunday and run into people and be like, oh, like I'd never met them before, and say like they listen to the show and they love the conversation. So big shout to you guys. Thank you so much. And hopefully we can continue to bring you guys, you know, quality content for 2022.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Everyone be safe this weekend. Make your money. And we'll talk to you in 22. My name is Kareem.
Gary W.
Peace, guys.
Peace, guys.